And it is that time of the month. It's time to get the snake enclosures all cleaned up and get all new substrate put in. So this is our favorite substrate. It's Reptichip, and we do get it in the breeder block. They do have it on sale every few months, and we usually stock up and get like 3 or 4 at a time. And you can get free shipping off of their website and whatnot. So that's what we do. So I'm actually going to start with Tofu's enclosure. Tofu is right back here in this little hide. It's so funny. I bought this one just as kind of more of a decorative, but she squeezes herself into that. She seems to really like that one. But as you can see, she had kind of a bad shed a couple weeks ago, which is not usual, but it leaves all these little yucky pieces of shed all over the enclosure when that does happen on occasion. So we need to get this all cleaned out for her because the shed actually can harbor some bacteria, and you don't really want to leave it in their enclosure long term. So this is how I do it. And I find the easiest way to do it is just to use an old ice chest. So what I do is I cut some slits in the top of the bag and then fill the bag with water and let it slowly expand over time. I would say an hour to, a few hours. And then I let it out, and then I still have to kind of moisten the rest of it. So, I use this just to kind of make sure everything's nice and moist and there's no big chunk still in it. So this is all pretty much ready to use. It's just very, very lightly damp. I'm going to just mention one more thing about this because I'm getting the next brick ready for tomorrow. So one brick does about 2 enclosures for me. So this is how I cut the top of it, just one side and the other side. Make sure you pull this out because I left that in once and it was a hot mess. So pull that out, and then you pour a gallon of water in here and just let it sit, and then I open it up and shake it all down in there, and then I pour a little bit more water over it until everything is nice and expanded. So this is what we keep the snakes in now when we're cleaning the enclosure, without the catnip, of course. But we have like this little temporary dog pen, and I can't find it, and that's usually where I put them. However, the last couple times I cleaned their enclosures, the cats were driving them nuts, especially Linus, our little Sphinx, and he kept jumping on top of it. So I actually wasn't going to use that this time anyway. Okay, it's time to kick the cat out and put the snake in. So a lot of times I will start taking the stuff out with the snake still in the enclosure, and then when I get just about to the last item, that's when I'll take the snake out. Okay, Miss Tofu, time for you to come out. I don't know if you can see her. Her little nose is peeking out, her little snout there. She's not quite sure what's going on, but we definitely need to get this cleaned up. Hello. Hi, pretty girl. Hi, pretty girl. Okay, and then I usually just pat them just for a few seconds before I pick them up, or just so they know it's me and it's nothing that's gonna hurt them. And okay, so she is gonna go in her little makeshift, no, get out of there. So she is in her little makeshift enclosure here while we go clean everything out of her cage, and I'm just gonna put the lid on. It has some air holes in it, and she will just chill here. Okay, back to this yucky cage. So we've got the last item out now, and now we're gonna start taking all this yucky, dirty substrate out. So now you can really see there is just a bunch of mess in here. She has the messiest and the smelliest of all of our enclosures. I am not sure why. This is pretty bad right now. So we usually do this every, I would say, month or 2, like a full complete clean where everything comes out, gets scrubbed, and goes back in. And that includes all of her items over here. Everything gets scrubbed with soap and water and then put back in after she's got new substrate. And then this is the cleaner that I use. It's actually pretty easy to use. It's by Zoo Med, and I just find it's the least messy and kind of the easiest. You just spray it in, leave it 5-10 minutes or so, and then you just wipe it out. So it's super easy, and it's non-toxic for the snakes. You cannot use this when the animals are in the cage or any substrate. The cage has to have every single thing out of it before spraying this in. Yeah, it says let it stand for 5 minutes and then just wipe it dry, and that's it. Super easy. And as far as like our daily, what we do with the enclosures is every 2 days they get fresh water, and at that time, I'll take out any urates or any big pieces of anything yucky in their enclosure. But yeah, after, a few weeks, a month or two at the very most, it just gets kind of yucky, especially hers. What's funny is, like, if you look in Artie's, his is so clean, and I clean them all the same day. So for some reason, her enclosure is just always filthy, and everyone else's is really clean. I don't know if that's the difference between a female snake and males, because she is our only female. Yeah, here is Artie's super clean cage, and here is Artie. But his needs to be clean too, because it's the same time. I do them all four at the same time. So here is her enclosure. We've gotten pretty much everything out and in a trash bag, and now I'm gonna get the vacuum and just vacuum out any little extra pieces before I spray the cleaner in there. And now it's time to spray. So I do the walls, I do the ceiling, I do the entire cage. And I definitely do extra on any spots where she has peed. And then you let it sit for 5 minutes. And while all this is sitting for 5 minutes, it's a really good time to check the inside of the cage and see if anything needs to be repaired. Like this corner, some of the lights are kind of coming down, so I'm going to tape that back up. And right over there, I probably need to add a little more tape on that wire just to make sure she doesn't get caught up in it. And when I'm doing anything in their enclosures, I use this aluminum tape. It holds really well. They don't seem to get it like pulled off, so it just seems to stand up better than anything else we've ever tried. Okay, so we've added tape and fixed this part. I don't think she can bug it anymore. It seems like it's on pretty well, so we'll see how that goes. So it is almost dry in her enclosure. It's all nice and clean. We've kind of fixed that little spot that was sticking out, and we fixed that little spot. So now we're just waiting just a few more minutes, and then it's time to put all new substrate in. So it smells good. It smells a lot better. And meanwhile, you can see her just kind of moving all around the tub. Of course, the cat is staring at her because I have moved him away about 5 times now and then pretty much just gave up. He's being good. He's just kind of watching her. So yeah, I'm talking about you. And yeah, she's just kind of wandering. So now it is probably my least loved part of this whole debacle, and that is washing all of this stuff. I do rearrange her enclosure a different way each time I do the terminal clean, just because I think it gives her, something new to explore. It's kind of everything set up new, and she seems to enjoy that as much as, a snake could. Everything is clean, and now it's just kind of sitting on big towels in the kitchen until I get some substrate in her enclosure, and then I'm going to set it all back up nice and beautiful. So some things that you can use for snake hides, it can be as easy as like this bucket that we got for like $1 from IKEA's. And my husband just cut a hole in it basically and filed down the edges so they're not sharp. And she loves this hide. It's huge. I mean, that thing's going to fit her even when she's a big fat girl. And my favorite one is that one, that cave. And it's actually a lot bigger than it looks. It doesn't look that big, but it is just enormous. And here she is, back in her enclosure, now that it's all rearranged like new. Hello, Tofu. She is such a pretty girl. She's actually our most, I don't even know if you could call a snake social. Oh, she's got some drips of water on her. But she's just always so curious, and she comes right up to you. Oh, I see she has a couple little tiny pieces of shed still on her, so we're gonna have to work on that. Huh. And I almost forgot to put her temperatures back in, her thermometers, and her hygrometers, so I'm gonna get those in real quick. And it does tend to be on the humid side, at least the first 28 to 48 hours while some of that substrate is drying out a little bit. And then we resume spraying every day with, we just spray reverse osmosis water in the snake enclosures at least once a day. When they're shedding, it's like 3 or 4 times a day sometimes. So just to help with the humidity. Looks much cleaner. Okay, we're gonna let Tofu go explore. Thanks so much for watching and letting me share my routine with you. And now I get to work on 3 more snake enclosures. But the dirtiest one is done. Is that a thing, by the way? If any of you have female and male ball pythons, let me know. Are your female cages way stinkier and just dirtier than your male cages? Because ours is. I love this little snake, but she is such a little pig in her enclosure. Artie's enclosure is also done, clean, rearranged, and he's trying to escape. Tofu has settled into this big hide in the corner, and what's funny is they will explore for hours after their enclosure is rearranged. It's almost kind of like everything's new and they gotta figure out where everything is again.